Hi everyone, I'm Angie Hilton and this is Rowan Mackey, either to my left or right, wherever you end up on the screen. How are you doing, Rowan?
Good, thanks, Ange. Good to be chatting with you today.
Me too. Now, Rowan is our producer for Destination Happiness podcast and YouTube channel. And we just wanted to do a little bit of an intro session just to tell you a bit about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do, and a little bit about the show. So Rowan's going to fire some questions, I think, and then I'm going to introduce you to a couple of lovely people who you can't see at this point, Adamo and Sue Mackey. So, yeah, where do we begin, Rowan?
Yeah, well, Ange, first I'll just say it's good to be chatting with you today, and thought it'd be a good opportunity to just come together. And I suppose we're going through a little bit of a shift with Destination Happiness in some ways at the moment. So we thought we'd just come together and sort of introduce everyone to the team and go over what some of those changes are. But first of all, it's been spoken about a little bit, Ange, but why did Destination Happiness start? Where did all this come from?
Yeah, it's I guess in a nutshell, it was my own personal battles with mental health in my 20s, which left me crippled with anxiety and depression, and it took a long time to crawl out of that dark hole. And while I was doing that, I was researching as much as I could about happiness and self-help tools. And I thought, oh, if I can ever get a good handle on all this, I want to share those tools with as many people as I can to help prevent people sliding down into that really dark space. So that's where the little seed of an idea came from. And then I worked in TV for years in travel, and I thought, I wonder if I could make a TV show around combining mental health and well-being on a show. Wouldn't that be great to get some positivity on TV? And so one thing led to another, and I hooked up with the amazing Mackey family, which is yourself, your father, Chris Mackey, who's the psychologist on our show, and your mother, Sue Mackey, who also is a researcher, producer on our show. And so with the brains of the Mackey family behind the content of the positive psychology and all the strategies to be really like the professional level, that really gave me the confidence to move forward with a really great platform to share with people. And so far we've had 3 seasons of the show on Channel 9 Australia-wide, and now it's all around the world on the Discovery Channel. So we're thrilled at where it's reaching, and we're getting a lot of feedback from around the world. But I guess COVID now is making us look at other options rather than getting out and interviewing people face to face. We can do this sort of thing and take it to a new zone. And that's where you come in, Rowan.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, well, so I'm up in Melbourne at the moment, as you mentioned, COVID sort of locked down at home. So it's interesting. I remember interviewing you actually for a podcast that I did years ago, Angie, sort of before Destination Happiness was even a TV show. It was just an idea at that stage. And I think sort of from that time to now, there's been a real movement towards more positive media, more positive content. And I think the way that you've told your story through Destination Happiness has been something that's potentially been a real driver for some of that as well, because the way that you've sort of opened up to everyone and allowed everyone to come on board, I know certainly through my involvement over the journey, I've got so much out of it. So firstly, thank you very much to you, but also looking very much forward to taking it to the next step, because I heard something recently that someone mentioned that sort of with like podcasting and YouTube and all this sort of stuff, potentially in the future, it's going to be seen as a bigger invention than the printing press. Wow. Because there's the same sort of implications in terms of, anyone can put out content, you can mass produce content, but also you don't necessarily you don't have to read. You don't have to be able to read. So it potentially opens up the world of information to a whole new bunch of people. And I know with the TV show, it was almost like we had to constrain things at times in some way. So I think in the next sort of step, it's just going to be so good to be able to really kind of see things through without so many limitations.
Absolutely. And really, have those unfiltered conversations that we all need to have. And that's been the passion of all of us on the show, is breaking those stigmas, just being real, letting everyone know that, yes, we all feel these awful feelings at times, and here are some ways to get through them. But I love that too, Rowan. It's like there's no one watching the show with a fine-tooth comb going, no, you can't say that, you can't say that. So we actually just get to break free and talk to people who have stories to tell, and those stories might go for half an hour, but there's so much gold in that, and you can't squeeze that into a TV show. So seeing how people had those challenges and how they came through them, it's so inspiring. So that's what I'm really pumped about sharing with everyone.
Certainly.
Yeah, and I love, like, you've done the same with your dad. You two have a podcast, and you've been open about your experience with mental health too, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, as you mentioned, sort of do a podcast with Dad, as many people who follow the show would know Dad. And yeah, as you say, and I think many people are in that situation these days that have had sort of mental health challenges over the journey. And I experienced the sort of death of a close friend at university, and that sort of opened up the world of mental health to me in a whole new way. Obviously, coming from a family with some psychology interest, it was a whole thing to, I suppose, be feeling things on a personal level. So I suppose similar to you, wanting to really, bring some of those things across. But also as well, I think part of the power of Destination Happiness came from more than a TV show. It was about the community and about the interaction with the community. And I think that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to in this next phase of everything, opening up that interaction with the community, inviting people to get a little bit more involved in their own way. Because although I think, as I said, you've been such a big part of Destination Happiness, Angie, and it's been great what you have shared so far. But I think there is so much power in letting other people share and letting other people jump on board in that way too. So maybe you might let us know in maybe some ways at how people can get on board with Destination Happiness going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about that as well. Just everyone connecting with us, feeling like we're a team all together and sharing and supporting each other along the way. So yeah, hopefully we can build our big tribe of team happiness, or whatever we want to call it. So let me take this moment to introduce your lovely mother. Come on in, Sue. She's saying, I don't need to be on this, do I really? But she's been such an integral part of the production. Hi, Sue. Yeah, so Sue does a lot of the research for us on the show and comes up with the great storylines and the great messaging. So Sue, what drives you to have this passion towards psychology? And
yeah, so I've always, probably for the last 10 years, been a bit of a positive psychology junkie. I work in a psychology practice. I originally was a nurse, so I'm really interested in health. But I had a brush with cancer 7 years ago, and after that I decided I would launch fully into positive psychology and use it really a bit more as my rehab. So very much became a happiness junkie after that, trying to find ways to get, to a better place from a fairly dark place. So I'm very interested in health and wellness. I'm very interested in mental health. And getting positive messages out to the community, especially perhaps the social media community, which is such a powerful forum these days and really I was shocked recently to hear that the major emotion that people feel after being on social media is regret. And
makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and getting sucked down the vortex of people cultivating that superficial image that they've, it's not really the true world. And so I love the idea of getting more real, more authentic, and really be able to help people to build up their own toolkit, to know that they're not alone with their struggles, and to know that it's normal to feel down. Life is about ups and downs, but that we can really have some strategies to find our way out of it.
And I think, sorry, just to jump in there, Mum and Ange, I think that's one thing that's potentially come out of this COVID period is that, like, I know myself, like, I'm feeling a lot more that I want to kind of reclaim that social media space and make it a lot more of a positive space than it has been. And I think that's where potentially we're trying to potentially be that for people a little bit, is that people will hopefully feel that they can join our Facebook group is an example where they can jump on board or like the page or come along to the YouTube channel and feel a part of a social media space that is a bit more positive.
Yep, we've also got that Facebook private chat group. So if anyone feels like they want to have those deeper conversations in a supportive forum, that's been really popular at the moment too. So I'm really wanting to explore that. Now, your husband's not here, your dad's not here today. He's always busy attending to very appreciative clients. But what would you say that Chris would want people to know about where he's at and his philosophy?
Yeah, I think Chris is really passionate about mental health promotion, and a lot of time that he spends these days is getting a lot of free resources out through our website, chrismackey.com.au, which Rowan's very involved in, with YouTube channel there as well. So he's just completely passionate about, understanding that, he can't see everyone that wants to see him, but he wants to be able to share the strategies and the wisdom he's gained over the years being a clinical psychologist.
Absolutely. So now, before you go, I want to ask you, Sue, have you got a favourite quote or a motto or anything you want to share today with the audience?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, just something that pops into mind today is, and it's probably, relevant to the world situation, is never let a good crisis go to waste.
That's awesome.
So, there are bad things that happen in life and in the world, and that, what we can sort of try and get as much control over that for ourselves personally, and find a way through that's, maybe we're going to come out better and brighter and shinier on the other side.
That sounds awesome. On that note too, Rowan, have you got something that anything you live by or love, a quote?
Oh, geez.
What?
If there's one that I probably think of most, it's those who live for the why need not worry about the how. So you may sort of, if you've got your sort of overarching why in terms of why you're doing something, why you get up in the morning, the how along the way in terms of the practicalities take care of themselves a little bit more than they would if you're sort of going through the motions or forcing it a little bit more.
That's great. So focus on the why and the how will work itself out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've never heard that one. Now, thank you, Miss Susie. I'm going to let you get out of the hot seat. Come on in, Adamo. Now, Adamo worked on series 3 of Destination Happiness, and he's the resident joy bringer. Hi, Adamo.
Hi.
Now, I just want to pick your brain about what did you love about working on the show?
I just love the opportunity to go and explore all these avenues of happiness. I'm a bit of a happiness junkie myself, and I understand it's good to feel the highs and lows of life, but to be able to be the joy bringer of the show and use my personality to be able to help those people on the street and break that social barrier that, we've actually got more of one now, but being able to go up to people on the street and give them flowers and surprise them with joyful things. It was really easy to do on the show. What I found actually a little bit harder was doing it in real life, because there were no cameras there. But I just started doing it in real life, and I think that is almost even more satisfying. It's great to have the cast and the crew and everyone with an elaborate setup, but when I was driving through the Bean Squeeze coffee shop, I was so nervous, and it was so exciting that person was going to get the free coffee behind me, and I was left on a high. And little things like that I've been able to carry into my life, it's just so good.
So if you haven't seen the show, Adamo does the random acts of happiness, and so some of the things you've done, that you've given flowers, what else have you? Tell them about the nurse one. They can check that out.
Well, it was quite an elaborate setup, and I had to calm my personality and act like a patient for a video where they were going to create a video to apply for funding. So these nurses had come out of their working hours, and we already know how hard they work, and they were involved in making this video to get funding, and we kind of surprised them and said stop, and asked them a silly question and said about happiness, and then said, right ladies, you're coming with me. And then we took them in a stretch Hummer, and we had champagne, then they had no idea where we were going. And they ended up at a day spa having all these treatments and facials, and you could just see the stress melt away from them, and it was just an amazing experience that they'll never forget. So that was an absolute highlight and a good one. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I love that you still do it in real life, not just on TV life. What would you say to people about the experience and why they should potentially try some random acts of happiness?
Well, I think it's much easier than you think. Don't overthink it. It could be anything from taking your loved one a special lunch when you know that they're having a busy day, or delivering chocolate to someone's letterbox. That, you know, it can be people you know, it can be people you don't know, but it just makes you feel so good. And no matter how happy they feel, it's actually really a bit of a selfish act of happiness, because you just, you know, feel like you can pat yourself on the back for putting someone else first, and it makes you forget about your worries and stresses as well. So it's really a benefit for everyone involved, and it can be little, it can be big. We haven't done one that I've always wanted to do, so I might have to do this one myself.
What is it?
I wanted to set up a candid camera and deliver gnomes to people's door, and run away. And then film them and be like, what is this? No, I'm doing it.
That is so random.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think I might do that one.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to say. You'll see Adamo pop up throughout the threads with more random acts of happiness. So if you know someone that needs one and they're within the vicinity, I might add, we're based in Geelong, but, you know, we've got little tentacles around the country and even around the world now. So if you know someone who really needs a random act of happiness, maybe shoot us a little message and we'll see if we can get someone to go out and surprise them somewhere. So thank you, Adamo. And have you got a favourite quote saying anything?
It's not as profound as your quotes, but I love, it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. So, you know, when you get dressed every morning, or whether you're buying clothes from Kmart or, you know, anywhere, I always think like, it's not what you're actually wearing, it's how you're wearing it. So if you're like, I'm just wearing my Kmart jumper, you'll act like that, but you can kind of cultivate that confidence and just put on the jumper and love how it feels or how it looks today, and the sleeves fit me. That's good because I've got long arms and they don't always. But you know, and then I can get a compliment. Oh, that's a nice jumper.
Oh,
and
I think I said that earlier, and he said it's a Kmart jumper.
I said Kmart. Got to make it sound fancy, but
No,
I always
awesome.
say it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it.
Yes, and I should add that Adamo is also a stylist and a hairdresser and a makeup artist and an artist. So he's the creative one behind the scenes. So you'll be seeing a lot more of him. So thank you for coming along.
My pleasure.
So what else do we need to tell them, Rowan? Have we covered everything?
I think pretty much, Ange. Yeah, it was good to obviously get an opportunity to just sort of discuss a few things today that's just going to be good to get other people involved with now. So I suppose the main thing is just to invite everyone to get on board. So obviously we've got the YouTube channel to subscribe to. We'll have a range of new videos coming out there, including some longer interviews, which as I spoke about before, I was noticing we've got about a 20-minute interview with Patrick Dangerfield just after he had his son George. His party had his son George. So that's something that will be great to get out there. And then we've got the Facebook chat room and the Facebook page as well. So just looking forward to being able to interact with a whole bunch of new people in the Destination Happiness community from my end.
I'm super excited too, Rowan, and I just can't wait to connect with everyone. So jump on board, whatever platform excites you, YouTube, podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll really look forward to connecting. If you enjoyed that video, don't forget to like and subscribe so that we can keep you up to date with all our latest content.